Hi, folks. I wanted to create this video for a while, um, but I didn't just get around to doing it because I had a hang up. I've been meaning to create YouTube content for a while, but the only thing that I did was repurpose all the weekly recordings that I do for folks in my community, where I ask somebody who got their EB1 to come and talk about it. It could be lawyers, it could be people who have received their EB1s. And I was like, yeah, that's enough content for YouTube. But then I wanted to create some content where I could speak with you directly. But then I had a hang up and I'm like, you know what? I need to put on makeup. I need to be camera ready. That takes so much time, but I wanted all of it to be impromptu as well without any edits, just the raw file. I'm not going to put any effort into it. So if you're expecting like editing, which is at par with some of those big YouTube content creators, you're not going to get it over here. I wanted this to be a space where you can see me uh, just like my friends see me and my family sees me completely unbothered, showing up on camera with this zero preparation. Just think about it as adolescents that show, if you haven't seen it, where they shot it in one take, but with much less brilliance. So this is how YouTube is going to be for me if you're tuning into my channel. If you don't know me yet, uh, which I don't think so you will, my name is Aditi Paul. And fun fact, there is Indian Idol singer with exactly my name. So if you have no work to do and you all of a sudden Google me, you're probably going to see her results, thankfully, before mine. But if you put something like Aditi Paul EB1, then you'll probably see my face more often than you need to. So I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you why I started creating content on this, like one thing called EB1. Why even create content around that? Why am I the one to create content? And also share some of the things that I went through in this journey and my motivation to talk nonstop about EP1. All right, so a little bit about me. I am from Kolkata, India. I've been born and raised there. I'm Bangali. There is no interesting dimension to me. I'm not like one of the other Bengalis whose dads were posted in Calcutta, but then they went somewhere else and now they have become very global. I am a Khati Bangali. I love bhat. I abhor roti with a lot of guts. So I just don't like roti. I try to get around it because apparently rice has a lot of calories and apparently it spikes sugar levels. But I couldn't be bothered. If you give me rice, I'll eat it all day. So that's about me. I moved to the US in 2010, but not because I wanted to move to the US. It's because of my sister. I keep sharing this all the time that she is the person who's the real culprit because I grew up with her. And since the time she was in class 8, she could not stop yapping about the US. Like she loved the US more than any patriot in the MAGA camp. I say that because that is a fact. So she was a big fan of the US. I really could not like wrap my head around why. But she got married and she moved to the US in 2005. And she kept talking to me about, hey, you want to move to the US for higher studies because the professors are really nice. And I think she played on that chord because she knew how upset I was with my professors. I went to St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. I really wanted to study in that college because not because I like studies, do not like studies, says the person who was a professor at one time in her life. I did not like studies, but I really like the concept of St. Xavier's College because Karan Johar made it look very cool. So I was like, yeah, I have to go here. I cannot go to Presidency. I cannot go to Goenka College. I cannot go to Jadavpur University. They scare me a little bit with their um, intellectual prowess. So I was hell-bent on going to St. Xavier's College. And the only program that would take me is computer science, even though I did not like computer science. Second semester in, I knew that I am not understanding what is happening. What is Gauss Seidel? What is Gauss Jacobi? What is 8084 preprocessor? What is C++? I have no idea. Neither did I want to learn. So my sister knew very deeply that my heart was not in computer science. I've always been into communication. During college, I used to MC. My first paycheck was rupees 2000, through which I got a MP3 player, which I still have. My song choices were impeccable back then. But that's where my heart lied. I really liked performative arts. I really liked being on stage. I like talking. I like communication. I just could not find an outlet to pursue that as a career in India back in the day. So my sister kept yapping about it. I was still not convinced. I was very happy with my life in India. I was happy with my life in Calcutta, Kolkata. But then something happened in 2009. My sister got pregnant, and we had to come to the US to meet our first nephew. Even though he looked like a blob, newborn babies do not have much to offer. So when I look back at his pictures back then, we were like, oh my God, so cute. But honestly, like he is much better looking right now. I'm gonna get canceled on the internet for saying this. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Like newborns, but we were so happy that he was our first nephew, first grandson and grand baby for my mom and dad. So we came to the US to visit her for like a couple of months. And my dad did the best or the worst thing. He booked trips to Disney World. He booked trips to New York City. He booked trips to Washington, D.C. So during that time, we took trips, and I was like, man, this America country is not that bad. And that's the concept, or that's the perception with which I left the US in 2009. And this was also around the time where I was graduating with my master's in computer science. Again, hating it completely. Did not have a direction of like where I would go after college. So I was like, you know what, America looks nice. I still want to pursue communication. Fine, fuck it. I'm just going to apply for my program in the US. So that's when I applied for a PhD in communication. And my mom and dad, they were cool with me going to the US, but they were like, just stay close to your sister. So I literally applied to 5 universities in a 60-mile radius from my sister's house. And one of those universities was Michigan State University, but they did not give me funding. So I went to Bowling Green State University, which is in the great state of Ohio in middle of bumfuck nowhere. So I went there, had fun, made some really cool friends. Like when I was in Michigan, when I was in Bowling Green, even though it was for 1 year, it was a very small university. It was a crazy experience. That was the first time in my life when I made friends with these like European bunch of friends where they had come for 1 year and they really didn't want to study. They just wanted to have fun and they wanted to go back. So I became friends with them. I became friends with a lot of like the Indian society that you have of students. But I knew that Bowling Green would not be the place where I would graduate from. So I would eventually move to Michigan State. So 1 year later, I moved to Michigan State. They gave me funding, but that was a rough patch in my academic journey because I just came with like a blank slate. And I'm telling you this because it's going to play out in my EB1 story. I pursued communication in Bowling Green. It was a program where it was more relaxed than Michigan State. So I was doing really well, like 4.2 GPA. So I went into Michigan State knowing that, man, I got this. Like I'm born for this. Look at me, so brilliant. And crashed and burned because Michigan State was tough. It was a tough school with tougher professors, and I really could not match up to their expectations. So much so that in year 3 of me being a student at Michigan State, I remember it like yesterday. I was called into my director's office, and man, I remember it till today where I was sitting, where he was sitting, how I was looking at him, my body posture, everything. So he mentioned that he had a conversation with all the other faculty members at the in the department, and they all decided to fire me from the program. And he gave me 3 months because he said that, hey, your summer assistantship is still on. You can stay till the end of summer and complete it and then leave. And my back was against the wall. You know how you picture getting a bad news and then Bollywood teaches you that you're going to react in a certain way. Ekta Kapoor teaches you react in a certain way. The cameras are doing like shoop, shoop, shoop. None of that happened. I was drenched in cold sweat. I was just so numb after hearing that news. And I went back. I did not put up a fight. I just went back to my office. and I called one of my closest relatives. I did not call my parents, and I told him that, hey, this is the verdict that I got. And this individual, he had come to the US as a postdoc. And he told me something that kind of put a seed in my mind. He said that, hey, you know what, American professors, from what I remember, they're pretty forgiving, they're pretty lenient. Why don't you go have a conversation with them and see if you can work something out? So I did exactly that. I individually emailed every professor because this director person said that all professors voted. So I emailed all professors and I wrote the email that, hey, I got this news for Professor so and so that you have decided to rusticate me from the program. I am not challenging the decision. I just want to know why and want to improve if given the room. So I remember sending that email and professors going to each professor's office and sitting there and listening why I was not good enough. I'm like listening to all these professors say, hey, you did not do this, you did not do that, compare it to your friends in the program. They have published this, they have gone to this. We don't see that effort from you. Um, and I just sat there and listened. And at the end, I made an appeal and I said, hey, in these 3 months, if I am able to publish so and so, will you let me stay? And they said, okay, we're going to put you, like, we're not committing to anything. Show us what you have. So, and in those 3 months, like, that was one of the most darkest periods of my life till date, because I had fought to get into a program, choose a line of work that was not meant for me. Like I went against the grain. I was meant to be an IT professional. My dad had like created this plan for me where he would say that, oh yeah, we live in Lake Town. You're also going to cross the footbridge and go to Salt Lake and sit in your IT job and do work and come back. Like that would have been a dream life for him. But then I was adamant enough to say, no, my heart is not in it. I want to be in communication, figured out my own strategy of getting assistantship, etc., what have you. And all of that was crumbling in front of my eyes. It's kind of like being like, you know, how Bollywood shows, like you go into a love marriage, everybody is saying, no, don't do it, go for arranged marriage. And then your love marriage kind of fails. It kind of felt like that. So it was a defeat in more ways than one. And that's where I like hit rock bottom. But little did I know that that rock bottom that I hit would be the greatest accelerator, not only in my PhD, but for EB1 as well. Because that was the time where I was so locked in to figuring out, like, how do I stay in this program? And one of those desperate attempts was to take a statistics course, not even in the Department of Communication, but in sociology. Americans call it sociology. I'm more comfortable with sociology, which just sounds nice. So I talked to some seniors from my PhD program, and I took a course in statistics, which most PhDs in communications in Michigan State they do. So I took that class, and one of the assignments of the class was to find a publicly available data set and crunch the numbers. And it was also around that time that like I've always been interested in interpersonal relationships, how does technology how does technology affect how relationships are formed online? Because the way we become friends, the way we have relationships, the way we communicate with each other is very different than how our parents would do it when internet was not a thing. So I was interested in that arena, not really interested in online dating, but like since online dating kind of fit into that bigger arena, I found a data set on online dating. And it was also the time when I was doing some online dating when I was in Michigan State because I was a broke PhD student with nothing to do. I was like, fine, I'll just like go on Tinder. That was essentially it. So I found out this data set, which mentioned how to win friends. No, not how to win friends, influence people. How couples meet online and stay together. So that was the data set. So I crunched up the numbers, and it was truly for an assignment. But then I got such interesting results. I was like, maybe I can like put this in a paper, and I yeah, I just crunched up the numbers. I wrote a paper which was like 2,000 words because that was the least amount of words uh limit paper that you could publish in this journal. So I wrote it up. I worked with a friend who was in the statistics department because I was not like confident if I'm writing right, if I'm doing right. Again, understand that at this time, I have not written a paper in my PhD program. And all the professors have kind of like given up on me as a basket case. So I had to like figure out how to write a paper. And if you know the struggles of writing a paper in pre-ChatGPT days, those were the times. So I was not confident in that, but I sent it out anyway. Cut to 2 months later, that paper did get published, and I was like, my God, like I have a paper now, and it's in a decent journal. And I thought the best had happened. I really genuinely thought the best had happened. That I felt like Rose in the sinking Titanic ship where you have like a raft of wood that you can hold on to. That's how it felt like to get that paper out. And I truly thought that's the best that happened. I sent it out to the director. I sent it out to the head of the department saying that, look, can you let me stay now? But then a couple of weeks, a couple of days later, my one of the professors in the department, she said, well, have you seen the news? You're all over the place. And I'm like, what? Turns out that research paper was written for a journal who had sent out a press release, and the results were so counterintuitive at the time. A lot of these pop culture media kind of picked it up. So we're talking BuzzFeed, we're talking The Telegraph, we're talking, oh my gosh, everything. It's on my website if you want to check it out, or if you just want to Google Aditi Paul and then online dating, you'll see all these. And that was the biggest accelerator when it came to applying for my EB1. But understand this, that was a fluke, right? When I got that, it felt like a fluke. It was, I deserved it. A lot of my friends, like, when people who talk to other people who are like, who are suffering from imposter syndrome, like, don't think this is luck. You deserved it. Yes, yes, I did good work and I got the recognition. However, it felt like a fluke. And I still carried that chip on my shoulder that I am undeserving to stay in this program. I don't know how to write a research paper. I don't know how to do this thing. I just got lucky. And I carried that weight on my shoulder for several years. And it manifested in a way where I stopped myself from pursuing EB1 when I should have pursued it more easily had I not had this ingrained deep self belief in myself that I just didn't deserve it. And I carried that. And not only did I carry it, I really did struggle writing a research paper, a decent one that would get through a journal publication. Because after that paper, it took me another 5 years to get another decent paper out. And I remember between 2015, 2014 is when this happened. 2015, I get a job in New York City as a professor. 2015 to 2018, like I am living under crippling self-doubt that I haven't been able to publish a paper. I haven't been able to get a paper in, forget about a journal. I couldn't even get a paper through a conference. And in the academic circle, you know that it's easier to get into a conference than a journal. So I lived with that self-doubt every single day between 2015 to 2018. To the outside world, I was like this hot stuff who her paper went viral and she knows about online dating. Internally, I'm fighting these battles. And in 2019, when a very unfortunate event happened at my workplace, which made me realize that this is not where I want to be. That's when I took EB1 seriously because I realized that my immigration status and my dependence on my employer was toxic. That if I had to leave this place, which I really wanted to, um, I couldn't because my entire immigration identity was tied to them. So the only way out was EB1. And the only way I could get EB1 is by rectifying the weaknesses that I had. And one of my weakness was the fundamental crux of every academic's EB1 profile. That is, you have to publish papers, you have to show productivity. So between 2019 to 2021, I made a goal that I would write every single day. I would write. And I'm not talking about like journal paper writing. I'm talking about like I would open up a page and I would like write, because I truly did not think that I had the capability in me to stitch words together, let alone create an argument, let alone do an original contribution. So I still have that journal where every single morning I woke up and I would write for 15 minutes just to get into the habit of writing. And between 2019 to 2021 is when I really, really hustled. 2019, I'm doing this exercise. I'm partnering with one of my friends, and he has agreed to take me under his wings and make sure that my papers are being published. And I'm sending out those papers, and every single time those papers are getting rejected, man, that hurt like a fucking bitch. Like every single time we would put this paper out, somebody would say that the writing is bad. Somebody would say that the method is flawed. Somebody would say that the discussion is not stimulating enough. And every single time I took that jab in front of this friend of mine who's a stellar scholar, I felt so, so little. I felt so little. Despite the shiny things that was there in my public profile. And that is a battle that I had to overcome by myself. But the thing is, between 2019 to 2021, the amount of effort, the amount of getting punched in the face and getting up that I took in, getting an EB1 was like, even if I got an RFE, which I didn't, I was like, you know what, I was prepared for it because I had been punched in the face so many times. Like I had seen the worst and then like got back up. I had conquered the fear that, hey, I thought I could not write a research paper. As a matter of fact, I can write a research paper and I could get it published. Not just a research paper, I could even write a book. And even though the book got lambasted when I sent out a proposal, that got accepted eventually. So by that time, the self-doubt had changed into self-belief, and I was moving differently through this space. So even when 6 months before my EB1 petition was filed, when my lawyer said, hey, Dr. Paul's EB1 petition, we haven't even started filing because she does not have enough citations, which means she does not have a claim. I was like, you know what, I will figure this out. I will figure this out. I will figure this out. And between September to October, to compensate for my lack of citations and get international acclaim, I sent emails. I reached out to professors. I was figuring out how to do workshops. I was in the mindset that I'm going to figure it out no matter what. And that level of drive, that level of commitment came because I was conquering other fears between 2019 to 2021. So that was my story of getting into EB1 at a later time. Probably I will share like the whole EB1 journey. But that's the reason why I am so excited about this EB1 journey because uh, I know how I entered it and I know how I left it. When I entered it, it was tough. Like it was gut punching. But the transformation that happened between 2019 to 2021, dude, like you can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a price tag on that. Like it was just getting up every single day and like trying to do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Um, and that's why when people do put in that effort, uh, the first thing that I want to do, or at least I do, is acknowledge that, you know what, you're doing it. Because when I was getting back up and I was taking those punches, it all happened BTS. Like it was happening behind the scenes. I could not tell my parents that I cannot write a paper. They are non-academics. They don't even understand what the idea of a paper is. Like, why are you getting excited that your paper has come out in a publication which like two people will read? So they didn't understand. So I could not really tell somebody that, hey, I'm conquering this fear, I'm going through this, it feels like shit. I just couldn't say it because I was so insecure. And half the people wouldn't get it. So I just kept it bottled up in me. So when people do go into this pursuit of like EB1, where they are doing things that they are deeply uncomfortable and insecure about, the least I can do is tell them, hey, you know what, man, I see you. Like, I see you. Great job. Keep doing what you're doing because other people don't get it, but you know your reasons why you're doing it. So that's why I yap on about EB1. As for making content on EB1, again, running script of my life is I deeply did not want to do it, but I did it anyway, not because it was a challenge, because somebody just said that, hey, you know what? I think this can resonate with people. So this was in 2021 when I had gotten my EB1, when I had got tenure, and now I was planning my exit from academia. At that time, I was also starting to build content on LinkedIn because I wanted to convince the outside world that, hey, I'm not just an academic. I know what it takes to make it out in the real world. And that was the time when I started working with a LinkedIn coach. Paid her $5,000 to figure out the LinkedIn game. And she heard all my stories. I told her, hey, you know what? I'm a researcher inside academia. I want to go outside and I want to be a researcher in the industry. I just want to portray how good of a researcher I am. And she's like, great, Aditi, but out of everything that you've told me about yourself, the most interesting part of that seems to be your EB1 journey. So why don't you share that? Like, she was Indian, she's from Mumbai, and she's like, you know what, as an Indian in India, I don't know the struggles that an Indian has to go through to get a green card in the US because everything seems to be very like polished, that you have a big house, you're living your life, and little do they know about this like little tiny piece of pebble that's there in every Indian person's shoe. This gnawing, just pain that you feel every single day, that doesn't quite affect you but doesn't quite leave you alone, is immigration. So she said, why don't you talk about that? And I did talk about it, but I also did not want to talk about it because it was super cringe. I was like, yeah, but do I really want to be that Indian person who toots her horn about like, देखो मुझे green card मिल गया. Are you serious about this right now? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I was too much of a feminist. I was too much of uh, had too much awareness of the socio-economic dynamics of this space to toot my horn about a green card. So I bit the bullet and I just like wrote a post. And little did you know, just like that paper of mine, this post went viral. And that was the genesis of me talking about EB1, starting to build a community around EB1. But all through the journey, my goals have been the same. Like I wanted to show up as the person who I needed when I was going through this journey. And that person needed somebody to instill a self-belief that even though this looks really daunting, it can be done with the right strategy, with the right effort. And that's the reason why I built a Slack community where I put everybody together, answered questions, but also make it so that they see examples of other people getting their EB1 to the point where it becomes like dal chawal. Like, okay, theek hai, chalo. You also got an EB1, it's not that hard, fine, congrats. You don't see it as something which is larger than life. Like, this is doable. You know this is doable. It's hard, but it's doable. It's like getting a six pack. It's hard, but it's doable. So that's why I created that Slack community. And I create content on LinkedIn to raise awareness because I went through this process piecing things together from different people. Yes, there was a lawyer from the university, but to be honest with you, she did not have the mental capacity to answer all of my questions. And you know that in immigration, you ask one question, it leads to an answer, and that answer leads to five more questions. So again, I built a community where people could ask these questions without shame, without feeling like I'm encroaching on somebody's freedom or encroaching on somebody's personal space. Um, and that's what I do when I work with my clients one-on-one as well. It's a smaller group of people. The larger Slack community is open for all. There's a small select group of people who I work with, um, to make sure that they know what the path forward is. Because here's the thing, and I'll probably end with this, that as Indians in the US, I am yet to meet an Indian who is lazy. We just don't exist because the country is not going to let you be lazy. I was talking to somebody, he said that, you know what, Aditi, I want a green card because I want to take a month's break because my immigration status is attached. My H1B is attached to a job. Even when I'm laid off, I'm like back on the grind. I want to get away from the grind. I want to be with my children, but I can't because I don't have a green card. There's no stop button. Um, And that's why I want to work with folks who have all the intention of doing the right thing, who want to put in the effort, but are lost. Faltu cheeze they are doing, like, running around doing this, that, whatever. Like you're expending good energy just because you have momentum, but momentum without direction does not really move you forward. So that's my entire shtick now, that hey, you want to get out of this hellhole, you want to get this done, you have the motivation, you have the energy, let's channel it in the right way. So that has been my progression of like what my struggles were in EB1, why I started creating content on EB1, why am I so passionate about this space? Because I know what this visa did to me. It did not just give me a green card, uh, it helped me break out of that shell where I had convinced myself that I was not good enough to do XYZ. And it challenged me to break all of those self limiting beliefs, do the damn work, sweat it the fuck out, but get it done anyway. So that's all. That's all. I have yapped too much. Uh, I want to look back at this video where I'm like, look, I had 1,000 followers when I posted this video. And then, like, 3 years later, you have 100,000 followers, and you're looking back at this video, and you were like, man, the growth. Delusion. Delusion is how I survive. But thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to creating more videos like just free form. If you want, again, if you want pretty videos, if you want the unfiltered, like if you want the filtered me with a little bit of editing and nice captions, please go to LinkedIn. I do that. I have an entire editing team, and by editing team I mean one person. He does a great job in doing that. But if you want like the BTS and the unfiltered version of like what is happening, like tell me, a sneak into my chaotic brain, this is the place where you need to hang out with me. For watching, and I'll see you again.